It's time to forgive yourself. What if the key to your freedom is buried in the simple act of forgiveness, both for yourself, but for others too? In this video, let's uncover how letting go can unlock the life that you deserve in 2025. Welcome to Beyond the Curtain. My name is Zechariah Loka, and today I want to talk all about forgiveness, but more importantly, how we can forgive ourselves. And you might ask, well, what is forgiveness? What truly does it mean? If you were to look in the dictionary, it would tell you that it is when we stop feeling a resentment or an anger towards someone or something that has hurt us or caused an offense or a mistake in our lives. But I truly believe it is when we choose to let go of a heavy burden or a pain, a resentment, a guilt in our past that is still hurting us today and stopping us to move forward. And the best way I can illustrate this is if imagine you were on a hike, right? And you have to put on a backpack to carry your water and your snacks and all of these things, and you're hiking along with your friends. But imagine that also in your backpack you have some rocks, but each one of these rocks represents something like a guilt, a shame, or something in your past that is holding you back and hurting you. And as you're going on that walk and you're trying to reach that end destination, which is the top of the summit, you feel that the longer you walk, the heavier these burdens become. The heavier these rocks feel on your back, and they cause you pain in your body, and they're tough and they stop you from getting where you need to get faster. Well, forgiveness is all about taking off that backpack, setting it down, and saying to yourself, actually, I don't want this to have control over me anymore. I don't want this pain. It's when we choose to say, hey, I want to be healed instead of hurt. I want some peace over pain. I'm choosing something different. And by the way, I'm not saying that that means that what happened to you is okay, or what you might have done to someone else to hurt them was okay. And believe me, I've been there. I really have been there. But it's when you decide to put that backpack down and decide, hey, enough is enough. I'm choosing to forgive myself and to forgive others. So today, let's explore some ways in which first we can forgive ourselves. Before I mention the steps that I now use in order to forgive myself, I need to tell you a quick story about a time in my life where I was living with pain and guilt and shame, and I just couldn't forgive myself, because that helps us to understand these steps. So essentially, a few years ago, I went through a really difficult phase. I was in a car crash that left me in so much debt, thousands upon thousands. Not only that, I just came out of university and I couldn't do what I loved, which was drama, to perform and all that because of COVID. I also tore my meniscuses, so I couldn't run or play any sports or do the things that kind of brought me peace. And because of these things on the outside of my life, they basically started to bleed into my professional life. And I started a career in sales thinking, hey, money will solve all my problems. Why don't I just chase money? That sounds great. And I realized actually that that was not the right thing to do, as I'm not really a money motivated person. Um, but I lost two jobs in a row when I was working in sales. And that was because of the way that I behaved, the way that I treated co-workers and people. And it just wasn't good enough. And not only that, I had a lot of shame because in one of those jobs, someone very close to me, a family member, actually helped me to get that role. And the way that I was dismissed in this certain job, it brought shame and dishonor on him. And I had to apologize, but I didn't apologize for a little while. And yeah, I wanted to escape the pain because I didn't want to face up to the truth that actually what I was doing was so wrong. The way that I was acting was wrong. So instead, I just started not talking to anyone, not seeing my friends. I kind of left church, didn't really go. I turned to drinking and other ways to escape the pain and the truth that, that I was struggling and that I felt like I wasn't enough, that I couldn't do anything, that everything I put my hand to was just turning to ashes and rubble. And there just came a day where I just thought, you know what? Enough is enough. I'm tired of the self pity and I want to get out of this mess. And I prayed to God, and then I began to put these steps into process to help me recover. The first step that I took in order to forgive myself was simply to acknowledge and accept that what I did was horrible. It was wrong. The things that I said about people and the way that I acted was stupid and selfish at times. And that was really hard, really difficult to get on that first step. As I told you, I was trying to escape the kind of reality of that truth by drinking a lot of alcohol. And hey, I know there are so many escapist methods out there, and for you, it might be something different. But for me, it was alcohol. It was a way in which I could escape the truth that what I said was wrong. And I needed to face it and say, actually, what I did was wrong, but I'm not perfect. Failure does not define us, right? I was only 22, 23 years old and going through an incredibly rough time, but that doesn't make it okay. I've done something horribly wrong, but it does not define me. How can I move past it? The next step that I had to take was, after you've acknowledged and accepted that what you did was wrong, you need to change your inner thought process, like your dialogue. I don't know about you, but I'm my own worst enemy. I was speaking such evil things over myself in that season as I just kept feeling so guilty and shameful that I'd let my family down, that I wasn't enough, that I was forever going to be in debt, that I was going to be unemployed forever or never find a job that I loved, that my knees would never get better, that I was an evil person because of the things that I said. And I had to change my thought process because it wasn't inspiring me. It wasn't encouraging me to do better. And we have to have that growth mindset. What I did was wrong, acknowledged. Okay, change my thoughts. How am I going to get better? What am I going to do to stoke the flames, to become better and react better in those situations? I read something online by an author that once challenged me because I'm such a negative thinker, I suppose, in my mind sometimes. But if you wouldn't say it to your best friend in the world, right, a piece of advice or something, why would you say it about yourself? Why would you say these evil things about yourself? Instead, replace them with something graceful and encouragement, right? Encouraging into your life. Get rid of these negative thoughts. It will do you a world of good. Right, so now we've acknowledged that what we've done is wrong. We've changed our inner thought dialogue, so we're no longer beating us up. The next thing we need to do is go back to the situation and think, what can this teach me? It is so important that we learn from our past mistakes, right? That's where real growth happens, when we use the stepping stones from our past failures as kind of platforms for us to grow, to when we recognize patterns and situations that have arisen before and we've made bad mistakes and whatnot, we can learn actually, funny enough, when I say evil things or do evil things or bad things, I get fired. Wow, shocker, eh? Shocker, shocker. Or even better, when I drink alcohol, it doesn't solve my problems. Who knew? Who knew? But it's important. I know I make light of it. I make a joke of it, but honestly, looking at situations and just asking yourself, hey, what can this teach me about my workplace relationships or relationships in general, my family, just habits, anything in your life that you want to grow in? What can your past experiences help you to learn about your future responses in the moment? So, we have acknowledged and accepted that what happened happened. We've changed our inner dialogue so that we're not beating ourselves up anymore. We're encouraging and inspiring ourselves to be better. We have decided to learn from our mistakes here, learn from our past to help us step into a better future. This next step is the most important, and it's all about making amends for what you've done. Maybe there's someone in your life that you've hurt, in your work, in your relationships. No matter what it is, you have to take accountability and responsibility for what you said, what you did, and say sorry. I mentioned in my own story that I got fired from a job and it caused kind of pain and a little bit of shame in that family member's like place of work. And so I had to go and take responsibility, accountability, and say, I'm really, really sorry. I'm sorry for what the pain that I've caused you as well as myself. And for me, that was one of the most important ways in which I could learn to forgive myself, to practice that self forgiveness. You need to make amends with the person in your life that you have wronged. Okay, so we have acknowledged and accepted what happened. We have changed our inner dialogue to something encouraging and inspiring. We have learned from the lessons in our past and used them to springboard ourselves into a better future. We have made amends with our family and our friends and taken responsibility. And now it is time to release the guilt and the shame that you are feeling. All right. It is so important that guilt and shame isn't a life sentence for us. A little bit of guilt at the start can be good. Why? Because it can inspire us to do better, to want to do better. But shame, we got to get rid of that straight away, because that is the stuff that eats inside of us and says, you are not good enough. And I challenge that right now. I challenge that and say that failure isn't final and that you deserve forgiveness. You deserve grace too. You need to practice some self-compassion and let go of this pain, okay? Just like as if a friend was struggling and you were helping them and encouraging them and through a tough time. Why not help yourself? Why not encourage yourself? Speak nice things about yourself and practice some kindness, okay? Because it's time to let go of this pain and this guilt that you are feeling. And I know it's hard. It is so, so hard. In fact, it's a real attribute of strength. And one of the wisest men to ever walk this earth, right, is Mahatma Gandhi. He said something that I've never forgotten. I think it was said to me in primary school, and I always come back to it. It says, the weak can never forgive. Forgiveness is the attribute of the strong. We need to forgive ourselves. We need to be strong. We need to learn from our mistakes and decide that this is not going to define us anymore. And last but not least, I want to talk about why I'm so passionate about forgiveness. And it's because Jesus Christ forgave me. It says in the word, in the Bible, that for God so loved the world that he gave his son. God is the author of forgiveness as he gave his son, Jesus Christ, to come down and die for us, that our sins would be forgiven. And whether you're Christian or not Christian, he died for you. He saved you. He forgave your sins. And that's a challenge for me, right? Because if Jesus forgave me for what I've done, how can I not forgive myself? Or if Jesus forgave that person that wronged me, how can I not forgive them? It stirs in my heart because forgiveness is such a powerful thing. And God, I believe, loves you. He cares for you. He has a plan for your life. And if you're struggling with unforgiveness in your life, why not turn to him? Why not pray to him, maybe for the first time? Or if you're new to this and you just want someone to talk to, then please reach out. My email address is live on the YouTube channel, I believe. And if I can help you to start this process, I'd love to. I truly pray that you guys will be able to start this process forgiving yourself and for others in the name of Jesus. God bless. Thanks for watching this video. If you're interested in more content like this, where I talk about life in a real and honest way, why not like, subscribe, and comment? Because I'd love to get to know you better. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.